Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sehat, selamat siang. Firstly, I would like to thanks Cinta Budaya Community for inviting me to say some word to the international webinar how to bring Indonesian KERIS to the world. I would like also to congratulate all the very close collaboration with Taman Mini Indonesia Indah Pusaka Museum, Bentara Budaya, Kompas Gramedia in organizing this webinar, along with KERIS exhibition, KERIS Mart, talk show, KERIS Education for Kids, KERIS book launching, KERIS Award, and many more activities that all you organize. First, let me start by recognizing some of the terms that might be very important for us today. Actually, since the operation of 2003 ICH Convention, the list of masterpieces of oral tradition and intangible heritage of humanity has been transferred to the list of intangible cultural heritage. So if we look at the ICH list, KERIS is included in the representative list of intangible cultural for humanity. Let me also briefly mention of the history of ICH. The focus of cultural heritage discourse has been long in the material side of things, which has resulted in UNESCO Convention concerning the protection of world cultural and natural heritage in 1972. Awareness arose, albeit slowly, that's not only the tangible heritage like monument or museum or cathedral, something like that, but also the intangible cultural heritage need also a protection. So from 2001 onward, UNESCO proclaimed a masterpiece of oral and intangible heritage of humanity. In October 2003, it's finally adopted Convention for Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage, which entered into force in 20 April 2006. ICH is defined as practice, representation, expression, knowledge, skill, as well as instrument, object, artifacts, and cultural spaces associated with that community, group, and in some cases, individual recognized as part of their cultural heritage. Interestingly and importantly, the convention explicitly acknowledged the continuity, changing nature of culture and cultural heritage, which is quite revolutionary. Moreover, it is mentioned that this is of the special interest for many arguments that safeguarding ICH does not only mean ensuring its viability through various means, but also revitalization of various aspects of such heritage. There are too many common misunderstandings regarding the convention related to patents and originality of the element of the ICH. Let me stress here and also ask for your kind help to disseminate to the public. Firstly, ICH convention doesn't mean any patents or intellectual property right. ICH list or inscription means to safeguard the elements and increase the visibility of viability, and also to ensure respect for the intangible cultural heritage of the community, as well as for international collaboration. The second common misunderstanding is that the originality of the element is important. The convention, especially the criteria of the inscription, does not mention origin as a criteria. What is important, in fact, is that the culture is living. It can be translated that at least in the respected community, the culture has been exist and live at least 2 generations, say 30 to 40 years. Just as you don't have to come from Nepal to be a Buddhist. So again, patents and originality is not an important part of the ICH. Now let's relearn what are the main concepts of the KERIS inscription. We nominated KERIS with the main concept or domain of craft works. Thus, it is important that we ensure that a skill of craft works in the metalwork, in the woodwork, aesthetic work are continue to be transmitted generation to generation. The other concepts such as religious belief, social status, etc. are also important. Ladies and gentlemen, KERIS as an ICH also related very strongly with the decent work and the SDG Goal 8, decent work, and also the responsible consumption and productions, and also the goal number 4 of SDG, quality education. And considering that we are getting closer and closer toward 2030, the deadline of SDG, while it seems that many of achievements are still quite far from the target, the contribution of ICH to SDG will be very important. Meeting SDG and the targets are the main part of ensuring the peace of the world, as also stated in the preamble of UNESCO Constitution. Since war began in the mind of men and women, it is in the mind of men and women that defense of the peace must be constructed. Bapak, Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, having said all of this, I commend the themes that has been chosen by the organizers, Indonesian KERIS for the peace and humanity. Indeed, many studies have shown that ICH are still decisive elements in many societies throughout Asia. Some of them use sustainably deal with the aftermath of many communal conflicts. Two examples that are well known for many of us are the Naibiti and Pelagendong traditions. Indonesia provides substantive share of UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage. Today we have 12 amongst 631 elements inscribed in UNESCO. So far, the potential of ICH for peace and humanity should be fully harnessed, and we should have significant contribution toward these noble causes. And finally, I would like also to commend all the organizations who join force in organizing these various activities to implement the objective of the convention. Intangible heritage does not exist independently from the people who create and enact it, and who identify with it. The knowledge and skill required for enacting and transmitting ICH are in their mind. The main instrument for enacting are their bodies. Therefore, safeguarding, which is often defined as ensuring continued practice and transmission by community, group, and individual concerned, should not occur without their consent, involvement, and commitment. The same also applies to the management of ICH elements that are not threatened in any way and thus require no safeguarding intervention to maintain their viability. To conclude, I'm thanking all of you participants for your interest in joining the program, and hope that you all have a new insight, have fruitful discussion, and ultimately we can give significant contribution on the feasibility of KERIS and all the other ICH of Indonesia and making peace in the world. I would like to thank you all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.